How good it is to be together. Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Okay, so usually I'm used to being the most beautiful one on the bima. No offense to Rabbi Axelrod, but, you know, I'm getting shown up tonight. So I'm not going to give you a long intro about Miss Lavinia Carr or Raymond Zachary, the person inside Lavinia, because they are going to give it themselves when they give a Devar Torah tonight. What I will say is, isn't she fabulous?
Yeah. Everyone give me the yes, queen. Oh.
I mean, I aim to glam this bright bima every single Friday night, and yet I've never quite reached the artistry of what is here tonight. I don't have that much hairspray. Ever. I've never used that much hairspray in my whole life.
It's a lot.
So one may say it's better to embrace your natural beauty. And I think that this may very well be Lavinia embracing her natural beauty right here. Or perhaps how she is intended to be. We don't often see a queen on the bima or in the sanctuary, for that matter, but they do exist, and they are remarkable. You know who else exists out here tonight? Gay people, lesbians, bisexual, transgender, non-binary, fluid, pan, and many kinds of queer, all the LGBTQIA+, all of it. You all exist in this room. And so, maybe you are nervous to come here tonight because you just think that religion tends to be a place that has a bad track record for accepting people as they are. But guess what? Congregation Ner Tamid, we welcome you. The Religious Action Center of Reform Judaism fights for your rights, and the Reform movement says, be our rabbi, be our cantor, be our friend. We are all made in God's image, B'Tselem Elohim. And that means that you are a reflection of the ineffable energy. We refer to that as God, just as you are. So although we are just about ready to say those Pesach words, why is this night different from all other nights? Tonight we say, this night represents all other nights. We welcome Lavinia, and we welcome Raymond, and we welcome all of you. So we began with a nigun and said the words, Hine Matov, how good it is to be here together on this day. And we will go into our traditional liturgy, although it looks a little different tonight. We also will be using our Siddur. So if you're new to our congregation, I do see some new and friendly faces. We use this prayer book, the Mishkan Tefillah. If you didn't receive one on the way in, or there's not one on the back of your chair, you're welcome to go grab one. We will be using the liturgy that you find in your service, that you find on the page, but we will be using special readings about inclusion and love that pertain to our very special Rainbow Shabbat. So I'll begin with one. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, who made us in your image. which knows no race, nor gender, nor sexuality, nor sexual identity or orientation. Blessed is the word pride, which is the consciousness of one's own dignity, to see oneself as completely whole in living as they were created to be. Blessed is joy and pleasure in the physical, spiritual, emotional connection we feel in relationship to another. Blessed is knowing and being and celebrating. Blessed is allyship, truly seeing someone just as they are, and how they've told you they want to be seen. Blessed is allowing ourselves to be led. Blessed is allowing ourselves to follow. Blessed is the ability to transform, to allow for movement and possibility, to create and recreate who and what feels most authentic today and tomorrow and into the future, knowing what the possibilities are endless. Blessed are you, Adonai, who made me in your image, which knows no form. Blessed is limitless. And so now we turn to our Shabbat lighting, to light those beautiful Shabbat candles. We move to our Bring in the Light of Shabbat, and we invite, this could not be possible, it may have been my idea, along with Raymond, but it was not possible without our amazing committee for Rainbow Shabbat. So if you were on our Rainbow Shabbat committee, we invite you to come forward and light our Shabbat candles. Page 120. Yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai. Bring in the light, bring in the light, bring in the light of Shabbat. We light the lights of Shabbat. Bring in the light, bring in the light, bring in the light of Shabbat. Lehad likner shel Shabbat. Shabbat shalom. May you have a restful day. Shabbat shalom. May you have a peaceful day. Bring in the light, bring in the light, bring in the light of Shabbat. We light the lights of Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu. Lehad likner, lehad likner, lehad likner shel Shabbat. Lehad likner shel Shabbat. Well, that was a nice warm-up. And now we turn to another special reading about inclusivity. And it reminds us of the specialness of our candles. As the sun sinks and the colors of the day turn, we offer a blessing for the twilight. For twilight is neither day nor night, but in between. We are all twilight people. We can never be fully labeled or defined. We are many identities and loves, many genders and none. We are in between roles at the intersection of histories, or between place and place. We are crisscrossed paths of memory and destination, streaks of light swirled together. We are neither day nor night. We are both neither and all. May the sacred in-between of this evening suspend our certainties, soften our judgments, and widen our vision. May this in-between light illuminate our way to the God who transcends all categories and definitions. May the in-between people who have come to pray be lifted up into this twilight. We cannot always define. We can always say a blessing. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, God of all, who brings on the twilight. And so we thought the Shabbat Queen was already here, but it turns out we still have to say Lecha Dodi and welcome the Shabbat Queen in.
No, the Shabbat Queen is here. We're getting the Shabbat Bride.
Okay, Queen,
Different.
Bride.
This is saying, if my
It's
husband is
all
watching,
either.
please stop hiding. This is fake. I'd like it to be real one day.
We turn to page 138 for our Lecha Dodi, verses 1, 2, and 9. On verse 9, we will rise and face the door. Ya la 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 Lecha Dodi, ya la 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 likrat kala, ya la 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 penei Shabbat, penei Shabbat nekabe, ya la 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 Lecha Dodi,
Lecha Dodi,
ya la 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 likrat kala, ya la 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 penei Shabbat, penei Shabbat nekabe la. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Ishmianu el hamiyuchad, Adonai echad, Ushmo echad, L'shemo tiferet velitila. Yai lai lai, ya la 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 Lecha Dodi, ya la 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 likrat kala, ya la 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 penei Shabbat, penei Shabbat nekabe la.
Likrat Shabbat, lechu v'nelcha, ki mekor habracha, merosh mikedem nesucha, sof maaseh במחשבה תחילה. יא לה לה, יא לה 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 לה, Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi, לקראת כלה, פני שבת, פני שבת נקבלה. We rise to greet the Shabbat bride. בואי ושלום, עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, יא לה לה, יא לה 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 לה, Lecha Dodi, יא לה 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 לה, לקראת כלה, יא לה 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 לה, פני שבת, פני שבת נקווה, יא לה 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 לה, Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi, לקראת כלה, יא לה לה לה, פני שבת, פני שבת נקווה לה. We remain standing for our Baruch Hu. Page 146.
Please be seated. Normally in our service, we turn to our Ahavat Olam, our prayer for everlasting love, the everlasting love of God. But our friend, Erev Cantor, Becky Mann, wrote this beautiful Love Will Win Today that I like to put in place of Ahavat Olam as a way to remind us that love is not only everlasting, God's love is not only everlasting, but it will win.
The road you're walking has been rough. The week you're having has been tough. But every single day is something more than you had yesterday. So take it all in stride. The words they're saying, they can sting. And someone just might try to break your wings. But love is made of friends, and though we'll go through times that cloud our lens, we always have the choice to say that love will win today. Whoa, love will win today. To feel the sun beneath the pouring rain is to know there's happiness under the pain. Hope can last forever, though through every storm you weather, there's a life that you're bound to change. Even the smallest can feel weak. Even the brightest, they feel bleak. But together we will leave the dark and be the ones to find the spark, igniting us, uniting us to say that love will win today. Whoa, love will win today. So go be something, something to someone, something to someone in some way that shows that love will win today. Whoa, love will win today. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני
ברוך שמו
אוהב עמו ישראל.
Page 152. Continue on page 154.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, שותפות בעיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיהם אני אדוני אלוהיהם אשר הוצאתיכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם
We bless the eternal, whose word the evening falls. We bless the one who teaches us to demand justice and to learn law. We speak of oneness, and you must love the one, your God, with your whole heart, with every breath, with all you have. Take these words I command you now to heart. Teach them intently to your children. Speak of them when you sit inside your home or walk upon the road, when you lie down and when you rise up. And bind them as a sign upon your hand and keep them visible before your eyes. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. We remember how quickly and deeply things turn disastrous when we forget to turn astray. We remember Moses and Miriam and all the Israelites standing with a history of violence and oppression behind them, an unknown future ahead, and a sea that seemed uncrossable. Calling out to the Redeemer, we pray, spread over us the shelter of your peace.
ומלכותו ברצון קיבלו עליהם משה ומרים ובני ישראל הכנו שירה בשמחה רבה ואמרו כולם.
Now, I'll just say, you know what to do, and if you don't, you'll figure it out pretty fast. Oh, Barbara, you're going to have to pick it way up if we're going to dance. Yeah, sorry. There we go.
Come on, kids, let's do this thing.
Ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 Mi chamoch ba'elim Adonai mi kamoch edar b'kodesh nora tehilot osef eleh Nora tehilot osef eleh
Come on, let's dance. Alechutecha ra'u vanecha bokei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam ze Eli anu ve'amru ze Eli anu ve'amru Adonai yimloch le'olam ad Adonai yimloch le'olam ad. Let me hear you. Come on, we can. I know you can.
Followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one who we've exalted.
Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long. Yai la la. Yai la la ya la 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 la. Yai la la ya la 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 la. Yai la 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 yai la ya la la. Yai la 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 ya la 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 la. All right. That was
ונאמר כי פדר אדוני את יעקב ומגדלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. Well, that's my cardio for the year.
Jewer size.
I'm going to take a second. I'm going off book. These are like 6 inches. All of you bubbies have no excuse at the next bar mitzvah I'm at. If I did this, you can do that.
These are one. So we turn to our prayer of shelter, of peace, that when we lie down tonight, that God is with us, protecting us, sheltering us with a sense of that we can be whoever we want to be. Page 160, 161.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
Hashkiveinu Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkiveinu leshalom. Ve'ha'amideinu shomreinu lechaim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storm. Let there be love
and understanding among us.
Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storm. ושמור צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ולשלום ואתה בעד עולם. ברוך אתה אדוני הפורש סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים.
Did you see that little microphone switch that I did? I also am a diva and knew that that was not my microphone.
I'm not a diva. What are you talking about? Who's she calling a diva?
All right, I need my sheer heart and junior cantors back up here for a little Vishamru. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. That's what this service is all about, Jack. You don't have to.
This one's got a nice beat to it. I like this.
Vishamru v'nei Israel et HaShabbat. Oh yeah, we didn't teach you.
La'asot, I pick up.
HaShabbat ledorotam.
Ledorotam.
Beridolam.
Jazz hands, no.
Vishamru v'nei Israel et HaShabbat. Everybody should do it.
La'asot et HaShabbat ledorotam. Beridolam.
Beini
Uveini.
uvein
Uvein.
b'nei
Israel.
Oti
Oti.
Oti
Oti
le'olam.
Vishamru v'nei Israel
et HaShabbat. La'asot et HaShabbat ledorotam. Beridolam.
Ki sheshet
Ki sheshet
yamim
yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim et haaretz v'shamru v'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat la'asot et HaShabbat ledorotam beridolam
uvayom
uvayom
ashvi
Hashvi
Shabbat
vayinachash
Shabbat
Shabbat b'nei Yisrael et hashavat. La'asot et hashavat ledorotam. Berit olam.
Last time, now you do it too.
Leshamru b'nei Yisrael et hashavat. La'asot et hashavat ledorotam. Berit olam. I don't think I've ever boogied on the bima.
I know, I forgot to teach it first. But
That's
you
okay.
You caught up.
I'm a dancer. I can dance.
Okay, thanks, guys. Anyone who's becoming a B'nai Mitzvah this year would like to lead us in the Amidah. You can stay up here. Page 164. We rise in reverence. No, that's it? Nobody else is becoming...
I'll be a bar mitzvah again. The party was great.
Okay, all right. Okay. We rise in reverence for the many ways our ancestors understood and honored the divine power, upholding the fallen, healing the sick, freeing the captive, bringing life to all, the holiness of the name, holiness of Shabbat, the importance of our worship, the many things for which we owe, and peace. These are the themes of Shabbat. We close this standing prayer recalling our own responsibility to protect my tongue from evil and to seek peace. And we will add our silent thoughts after the first three prayers. Page 164. We pray as if everything depended on God and act as if everything depended on us.
Adonai Satai Tiftach. Adonai Satai Tiftach. Ufi Agid Tehilatecha. Ufi Agid Tehilatecha. Adonai Satai Tiftach. Adonai Satai Tiftach. Ufi Agid Tehilatecha. Ufi Agid Tehilatecha. Adonai Satai Tiftach. Adonai Satai Tiftach. Ufi Agid Tehilatecha. Ufi Agid Tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rahel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Hasadim Tovim B'Konei Yaakov V'Zocher Chastei Avot V'Imaot U'Mevi Geula Livnei B'neihem L'man Shemo Be'ahava Melech Le'ozer U'Mashiach U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham V'Ezrat Sarah
אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל, אתה רב להושיע.
משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מחלקי חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, תומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיים ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מחיי הכל.
אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלע. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. So we continue in silent prayer through page 180. You can use the words on the right or the left side of the page, or the words within your heart. When you have completed your private prayers, please be seated. So if you're watching us on the live stream, Shabbat Shalom, thank you for being here. This is the time in our service where we think of those who are in the bed of illness and are in need of our healing prayers. So please submit their names in the chat on Facebook or on YouTube at this time. Submitted to our office is David Lerner, Sherry Muskin, Marilyn Goldstein, Ellen Greenspun. If anyone else has name or names of people that they are thinking of tonight for Misha Berach prayers, please rise and say their names at this time. And if you feel like you want to rise and put your arm around someone to show how much love you have and how much love is in this room right now, please rise and do that at this time as we have the power of prayer that unites us and also brings us strength. We also have, our chat's been funny,
Royce
Kim Rod-
Abbas Beryl Vachaya.
Marilyn Guasoff, Kim Rodriguez, Melchor Patino, Sandy Berman, Vincent Rodriguez, Ray Singer, Tammy Montes, page 371.
Misheberach avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misheberach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Amen. Okay.
You want to take a break?
Yeah, I'll sit down for a minute. You want to talk?
Have a seat.
Okay.
Sure.
That's good. Let's see. Alex, can we get the podium up?
It's my. You want me, I want to be center.
Oh, you wanna be
I-
center.
I,
Never mind,
I
ignore
love
me.
these flowers in front.
They are so wonderful.
It's a camera angle thing. It's a. Well, good Shabbos. Oh, what are you more of a Shabbat Shalom crowd? All right, Shabbat Shalom. Oh, see, that got more of a response. That was good. Whew. So what makes this night different from all other nights? Yeah, you're going to hear that a lot. Well, the big difference is there's a big old queen standing where the rabbi normally goes. Now, some of you may be asking, why on earth is there a drag queen on the bima? How could you possibly tie drag into Judaism? And how did you possibly manage to zip up that dress? Well, the answer is, I don't know the answer to that last one. We're still figuring that out. There's a lot of bobby pins involved. Anyway, I guess I should begin by introducing myself. My name is Miss Lavinia Carr. I'm the larger-than-life, opera-singing, nusach-chanting drag queen. In certain pockets of the drag community, it is traditional for other queens to give you your name, and so I was given mine after working a season as a scare actor at Universal Studios in Hollywood for Halloween Horror Nights. I was one of the zombies that got dressed up and would jump out and scare you. Because I had slept in my car almost every night because the traffic was so bad I didn't want to drive back, I would just sleep there and stay there. And so thus the other queens gave me my name, Live in Ya Car. And thus a star was born. But I wasn't always this glamorous, and I wasn't always a drag queen. I was born Raymond Zachary in Huntington Beach, California on September 24th, 19 Nanya business. I went to Jewish private school 5 days a week, Sunday school on Sundays, Hebrew school on Wednesdays, and I was singing in the junior choir at the temple on Tuesdays. So needless to say, there was no fear of me celebrating Christmas anytime soon. But my love of Judaism and text and Jewish music led me to become Temple Bat Yam's first ever cantorial apprentice. I began not only learning trope and davening skills, but also nusach and modes and chazonis. I was conducting services by myself before my bar mitzvah, and whenever the cantor was sick, I was their go-to sub. I was invited to sing as a guest in my first ever cantorial concert at the age of 9. That was the path I was on. Now, fast forward, I graduated high school and went to the American Jewish University as a Jewish studies major, emphasizing in Jewish music. I suddenly found myself teaching at one of the largest congregations in North America, Stephen Wise Temple in Los Angeles, taking graduate-level Hebrew with rabbinical students, and planning and producing my first cantorial recital my sophomore year. I love being on the bima. But I also have another love, the stage. You see, not only was I in the junior choir at Temple, but I also did youth theater all around the community. And I finally realized that center stage was the only safe place I could be. In a childhood that was often filled with bullies and nightmares, center stage was safe, underneath a spotlight. Because if you think about it, if you're being chased down the street by an axe murderer, and you run into a theater and onto center stage, they're not gonna follow you. My senior year of high school, I lied about my age to get into the audition room for a production of Hairspray at our community college. Now, don't get me wrong, lying does not often pay off, and Judaism has a lot to say about it. But in this case, it did pay off, and I booked the lead. I was going to play Edna Turnblad, the role that was coveted by drag queens everywhere, because as I'm sure you know, it's traditionally played by a man in drag. And I'll never forget the first time they presented me with my rehearsal shoes, because when you're doing a production that size, you get rehearsal clothes like corsets and petticoats just for spatial awareness purposes. I stood up just a little bit taller, and they said, you need to practice walking in heels. And little did they know I'd been borrowing my mom's forever until my feet outgrew hers. But as soon as I stepped into those shoes, I suddenly channeled every single Jewish woman that ever walked through a synagogue door. Edna Turnblad was supposed to be a mother from Baltimore in 1962. My Edna was from Brooklyn in 1940. And this was the first time I was ever able to blend my worlds of bima and stage together. I've since gone on to create not one, but two drag personas. Miss Lavinia Carr, who you see here before you tonight, performs in nightclubs and stages and, well, really any place they'll let her through the front door, like bar mitzvahs and weddings. But I also have a beloved another character, Aunt Shirley. She is a 1950s housewife from Brooklyn with an insatiable appetite for gossip. She has led community Passover Seders, yes, of course, Purim. Aunt Shirley's also officiated a wedding and done many bar mitzvahs. She even has a cooking show on YouTube, which I'll encourage you all to look up after Shabbat, Hugs and Knishes from Aunt Shirley's Kitchen, where I share with you our family recipes and, of course, try to convince you of a story from 30 years ago about a relative you've never heard of. So that's me in a nutshell. That's my path. It's my journey in life, is to combine the bima and the stage and find a balance for both. How can I create room in my life to have both successfully and create meaning and happiness along the way? I will never forget the night that a woman came up to me after a performance. She told me that her husband had unfortunately died earlier that week. And her sister had already bought tickets to the show and wanted to force her out of the house, so she came. She told me she hadn't smiled or laughed since his passing, but I was able to give her a 2-hour vacation before she had to re-enter a world of heartbreak and turmoil that awaited her outside the theater. We stayed in touch, and just a little while later, I was asked to sing and officiate at her husband's tombstone unveiling. That is how I create meaning through drag. Now that's all good and well, but some of you are still probably asking yourselves, what the heck is drag to begin with? And you're not alone. A lot of people don't know or don't understand or don't know the questions to ask. So I'll try and explain. In its most basic definition, drag is an art form. It's described as a person, usually male, who uses clothing and makeup to imitate and often exaggerate the female gender signifiers for entertainment purposes. The technical term is a gender illusionist. Now, of course, drag got its start in ancient Greece, where men performed on stage as women because it was illegal for women to appear on stage themselves. And that law continued in through Shakespearean Renaissance theatrical productions. In about the 18th and 19th century, Pantomime began to emerge in Europe, and then drag continued to grow into vaudeville, on Broadway, and into queer spaces and nightclubs all around the world until we see what we know as drag today. But drag is so much more than an art form. It's a mentality behind an action. We are all drag queens. As our Lord and Savior RuPaul once said, we are all born naked and everything else is drag. You like that? That was good. We are all born naked and everything else is drag. When you get up in the morning and you put on your clothes, you are putting on your drag. Your drag is the armor that you put on to go into battle. Your drag helps you to face the challenges of the day. Your drag is also an outward message to those around you. If you put on scrubs in the morning, you're telling someone just by your drag that you're a nurse and you can save their life. Or if you wake up in the morning and you put on a pair of coveralls, you're telling someone that I can fix your car and have you safely on the road again soon. My particular drag tonight, and most nights when I'm performing, yes, includes a wig and a gown and heels and a corset and lots and lots and lots of duct tape and bobby pins. However, I put this on to make people smile and laugh. Cantor Hutchings and I, and all the other clergy around the world, take a moment before we conduct any service and we put on our drag. This signifies to you that this is a safe space to worship and a safe space for you to connect, and whatever that means to you. Now, you can have different kinds of drag. While you may have your scrubs on is your nurse drag, and you come home and put on your mom drag to make dinner. Or if you're wearing those coveralls at the auto shop, you run to the baseball field afterwards and put on your coaching drag. Tonight, I appear before you as the glamorous Miss Lavinia Carr. But once the wig comes off and the corset gets unlaced, I'm Raymond Zachary. My preferred pronouns are they, them, and I'm a cantorial soloist. I currently work at 5 synagogues, and I've appeared on over 20 bimas across the country. I have a background in classical music and musical theater, and I'm a proud member of the Guild of Temple Musicians in association with the American Conference of Cantors. I also work very closely with the klezmer band Mostly Kosher, which I am proud and honored to be a part of. I love finding my balance in these two worlds of bima and stage. Now, the big question, of course, is what does Judaism have to say about all of this? Well, let's start at the source, shall we? The Torah, right? The Torah has many examples of drag, whether or not we even notice them. Aside from the fact that every single one of our Bible stories centers around a man wearing a dress, think about it. Thank you. Our first actual example of drag in the Torah is the story of Joseph, right? We all know he's given a coat by his father to signify his favoritism. It made Joseph stand out from his brothers, just as drag makes you stand out in your own mind. When Joseph put on his coat, he had that feeling that made him stand a little bit taller. The feeling I felt the night they handed me my rehearsal shoes. And you all know that feeling when you put on that one pair of jeans that fits you just like right there, right? And it just holds everything in. That feeling, that's drag. But Joseph was discriminated against by his brothers, just as drag queens have been discriminated against by various communities. And of course, he was then thrown into a pit and sold into slavery, and we know the rest of the story. If you don't, there's a musical with a very shirtless Donny Osmond that I recommend. Now, our Torah also tells us in 3 different Torah portions about Aaron, the high priest in the days of the temple, who not only what he should wear, but how he should wear it and what it should be made of. I personally think this is a total diva move on Aaron's part. Like he somehow got Moses to talk to God to be like, hey, I need more time in my dressing room before I go into the temple. It's like a whole looks thing. Like why does he need 3 parshas? We don't know. But if that's not a drag queen, I don't know what is. Our Jewish sages and our traditions teach us about the principle of chidur mitzvah, beautifying the mitzvah. The concept of chidur mitzvah is derived from Rabbi Ishmael's comment on the verse, "This is my God, and I will glorify him," in Exodus 15:2. What he means here is that we should glorify God in the actions that we do and in the commandments that we follow. Jewish law is known for being extremely particular about its specifications, right? How big our sukkahs have to be, how much wine a kiddush cup has to hold, how to tie knots on the end of a scarf. It's very particular, but what it doesn't talk about is how things should look. Now, we are commanded to make things beautiful as we worship God. Because we're all created b'tselem Elohim, in the image of God, we should make ourselves look just as beautiful as the things that surround us. Now, of course, it goes without saying that every person has their own idea, thought, and vision about what beauty is. However, I invite you to look at the things around you in your home that you surround yourself with and see how you can beautify them. I bet you didn't even know that every single time you walk into this sanctuary, you are in the presence of 7 drag queens. 7 drag queens. The Torah scrolls that sit in the ark behind me are some of the richest and most knowledgeable and most valuable drag queens I have ever seen. So much so that we dress them in beautiful velvet gowns with gorgeous necklaces and crowns, and yes, they too have corsets to hold them together. But they are full of, actually, I'm going to rewind because this is an important sentence. How many of you guys knew that your new Torah scroll, the one you just dedicated, has rhinestones on it? As every good drag queen should, right? Right? We are all, just like the Torah scrolls herself, full of stories and histories and lessons to be learned. So why should we not dress ourselves like a drag queen? You come into this world perfect, in the image of God, and everything else is drag. What is your drag? It may change from day to day or from moment to moment, but I assure you, it is beautiful. That was supposed to be the end of my sermon, but I'm going to add something more. As I'm sure you're all aware, drag queens have become a rather hot topic in today's political climate. I am not a fan of preaching politics from the bima, so I'm not going to. This is a sanctuary where we're supposed to leave our troubles of the outside world outside. And Shabbat, of course, is a time of peace. And I think we can all agree, no matter where your politics fall, that's not a very peaceful conversation. However, I will invite you all, whoever would like, to stay after the Oneg. Cantor Hutchings and I will be hosting a talk back where we can talk about politics. So you can ask me about the process of drag or drag culture or what I ate for dinner. You can ask me anything. I would like to leave you with a thought. What affects one affects many. My ability to stand on this bima tonight and look as I do is the work of about a dozen people. From hairstylists to wig designers to cosmetologists and estheticians and seamstresses and costume designers and so many more. The exclusivity that drag queens are facing today is not only affecting my livelihood and the livelihood of my colleagues, but also to everyone who contributes to this beautiful art form we call drag. This discrimination and lack of inclusivity is not meant only to target drag queens, but to slam the door in the face of the transgender community as well as the LGBT community at large. Of course, I encourage you all to please do your own research and form your own opinions. I was invited here tonight by Cantor Hutchings to act as a symbol that Congregation Ner Tamid is a warm, welcoming, and loving place to all, no matter what your drag is. And I want to say thank you for having the love and the bravery for inviting me here tonight, and I am happy and honored to act as that symbol. One thing I love most about my work as a cantorial soloist is that when Jews fall on hard times, our tradition offers us so many songs of hope. We've been through hard times before, we know how to handle them. And one song in particular comes to mind about the LGBT community. There are many, many things that the LGBT and Jewish communities have in common. Their love, their support of people in need, and their intensity when celebrating joy. But we also, unfortunately, share a past of hatred discrimination, and ignorant violence. So tonight I would like to offer a song as a prayer of hope for a brighter future. This song became an anthem for the LGBTQIA community during the AIDS crisis and has since been used worldwide as a message of unity and hope for a brighter future. It reminds us from the Jewish perspective that no matter where you are, God is right next to you. And if that's not your belief, it reminds you that your fellow person is right next to you, because oftentimes they're one in the same. When you walk through a storm, keep your chin up high, and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of the storm is a golden sky, and the sweet silver song of the Lord. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, though your dreams be tossed and blown. Walk on, with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. You'll never walk alone. Walk on, with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. You'll never Good Shabbos, and thank you.
So you didn't do sports when you were a kid?
No.
All right, well, that was beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing your story. I know that so many of us were a little hesitant when I first said, we're going to have a drag queen on the bima, and I saw all the
I was
faces.
hesitant.
Yeah. Like, what is she doing
I'm gonna share
now?
something. Cantor Hutchings and I went to what's lovingly called Cantor Camp in January, and she came up to me in the middle of a hotel in Palm Springs and said, "I have an idea," and had this like look.
That's how it all starts.
That's how it's all in Palm Springs. All the drag queens start in Palm Springs.
Yeah, but I have an idea, and everyone goes, "Oh no,
Oh God,
oh God, what's our idea?" But I think we've proved a point
Oh, yeah.
that everyone is welcome here, no matter who you are. We welcome you here at Congregation Near to Mead. So with that, we will begin to conclude our service, because you know Jewish goodbyes. So we will rise for our Aleinu in just a moment. This is the intro to Aleinu, a reminder that it's up to us to make a difference in the world. We'll be on page 586. And preemptively, if you're watching on our live stream and there's somebody you're thinking of tonight for Kaddish prayers, please submit those names in the chat at this time.
It's up to us to call ourselves to task, to sing what's good and true, to bring about redemption. It's what we were freed to do. For what's the point of being here if we're not moved to change our ways? Aleinu l'shabeach. It's time to heal our praise. We are carrying the stories of the ones who came before. What stories will be told of us when we are here no more? We commit ourselves to action. It brings meaning to our days. Aleinu l'shabeach. It's time to live our praise. Now you can rise, page 586. It's up to us to own the vision. We are an answer to a call. It's up to us to live the words we speak for the benefit of all. It's up to us to bow down deeply. There's a broken world to raise. Aleinu l'shabeach. It's time to live our praise. Aleinu l'shabeach. It's time to live our praise. V'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'mordim lifnei melech melchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. I'll invite you to remain standing for our Kaddish prayer, which will be found on page 598. There's so many papers up here. We recall the recently lost Debbie Deacon, Jean-Marc Chaubert, Leah Kephart, Dick Hyman, Herbert Muskin, Sylvia Gertzman. And we recall the Yortzites, the anniversary of death of Troy Bartlett, Sorrel Bass, Barbara Batten, Jeffrey Seichon, Pearl Davidson, Rose Gabrielif, Jenny Gertzler, Esther Goldfarb, Sheldon Gratz, Margaret Greenberg, Samuel Lee, Stephen Levitt, Ronald Jack Miller, Anna Moskowitz, Douglas Ritchie, Norman Schaffler, Paul Schuckerman, Isidore Schumann, Ada Solomon, Bess Sunlison, Derek Alexander Thomas, Sherman Titans, Susan Ruth Weidenfeld. And I look out to all of you. If there's a name that was not mentioned that you wish to mention, please say their names at this time, and we'll fill their room with their memory of their names.
I'm saying Kaddish tonight for Mashi Bund.
Ray Singer, Sandy Chenin, Herb Muskin, and those lost in the shooting this week in Nashville. Page 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah.
Amen.
Be'alma divra chirute v'yamlich malchute. B'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei dekudsha barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, Imru, amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, to all the world, to which we say,
Amen.
Amen. So we transition now to our kiddush and our motzi, and I want to invite up our committee once again to help us with the kiddush and motzi, any of the students from our religious school, and you can sit down if you're not one of those people. And I don't forget your announcements. They're coming. Don't worry. I did forget. I totally forgot. But I'm not going to call you out because I know you don't like attention, but there is a couple in the room that's getting married soon, and we want to wish you a mazel tov.
Mazel tov.
We're just going to say mazel tov. I won't even make you raise your hand. You know who you are. And
I do weddings if you're looking.
So we wish you a very sweet continued life together. Wink, wink. I'm looking at you. Okay? All right. And quick announcements.
Good Shabbos, everyone. When the cantor 3 months ago or so said to us, I'm thinking about doing, I know this guy, Raymond, who is Miss Lavinia, and I'm thinking about doing a service with Lavinia on the stage, on the bima. And this congregation has an absolute rule of freedom of the pulpit. So I just kind of smiled and said, okay, your call. But Yvonne and I have been congregants here for more than 40 years. And there's a couple constants that this congregation adopted when it was founded in 1974. Yes, we're coming up on our 50th anniversary. And that was that we would collectively and individually seek out, practice our Judaism, and explore our Jewish background, nature. And with that comes the concept of inclusiveness. While out there in the world, we've watched over the last 20 years especially, a lot of social movement, conflict, positive movement toward inclusiveness. In some ways, they're just kind of catching up with us. So, I'd like to thank Cantor for leading us in prayer tonight, and also continuing that tradition of exploring our Judaism and our inclusiveness. And Ms. Lavinia, thank you so much for joining us. It was an absolute pleasure having you.
Thank you so much.
With that, I will keep announcements very short. First, you've already mentioned that, Passover. April 5, 6 p.m., C&T's Passover Seder. I have to tell you, we are sold out. Woo! However, if any of you want to go on the wait list, contact Roberta in the office. We have tried to add a couple tables. We've done everything we can, and it is going to be a marvelous Seder. And again, it's sold out. Sunday, April 23, 11 a.m., is our Tikkun Olam Luncheon, honoring Shelley Berkeley and Dr. Larry Lerner. It is not sold out. So we hope many of you will attend. It's not an old tradition, but it is a very good tradition. And honoring our congregants, Shelley and Larry, is really a marvelous event. So please, 11 a.m., Bella Vita, on April 23. And finally, Sunday, I know I have to mention this because the counter would follow me and mention it. Anyway, Sunday, April 28th, 6 p.m.
Friday.
Pop-up. Sunday, April 28th. Friday. You're right. Friday, April 28th. I'm reading the message. Pop-up Shabbat. Yes, Shabbat is not on Sunday. Pop-up Shabbat featuring Mostly Kosher.
Woo!
Disney's Jewish rock band at El Cortez, RSVP at obviously RSVP on the website. It's in your calendar. It's in your CNT blast. Again, please attend. And with that, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I want to also, I'd be remiss not to mention that our guest this coming weekend, we have one guest to another. We have Joe Buchanan, our Jewish country music singer from Texas, will be here for our Passover Seder. But since the Seder is sold out, don't worry if you're not coming to the Seder. Next Friday night, Joe and I will be on the Bima together for some country music Shabbat. So that's always something fun here, and we hope that you'll join us for that as well. All right, here we go.
Right, oh, that's grape juice. Oh, Lord.
Yeah, we're straight-laced around here.
We
have a rainbow challah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. It does taste like rainbows.
It tastes like rainbow.
Thank you.
Hey, Cantor, you want to sing something?
Sure. I'm going to sing one of my oldies but goodies. First, I want to thank Barbara on the piano, Barbara Siegel. We have Alex Hill on sound. We have our amazing staff. Roberta arranged this rainbow challah and decorated our tables. And Eddie Simon is here, and he's done so much for us. And we have Dell, we have Jerry, we have all the people who make our services possible. So thank you to all of you for coming. Also want to thank all of our security tonight as well, and our Mensch Club for beefing up security for us. We need all of you to be here and support our community. So thank you for being here. So we're going to close with a song called One Day by Modest Yahoo, because we hope that there's a day that we don't have to make this a special service. It's just normal that drag queens are on the Bima. And if you're in our religious school and you want to join us on the Bima, the more the merrier.
Sometimes I lay under the moon and thank God I'm breathing. Then I pray, don't take me soon, 'cause I am here for a reason. Sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it get me down. So when negativity surrounds, I know someday it'll all turn around, because all my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't want to fight no more. There'll be no more war, and our children will play one day, one day, one day. Whoa, one day, one day, one day. It's not about win or lose, 'cause we all lose when they feed on the
Souls of the innocent, my drenched pavement. Keep on moving though the waters stay raging. You will lose your way, your way.
Don't let it face you away. Sometimes my tears I drown, and I never let it get me down. When negativity surrounds.
I know someday it'll all turn around, because all my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't want to fight no more. There'll be no more wars, and our children will play one day, one day, one day. Whoa, one day, one day, one day. One day this all will change, treat people the same. Stop with the violence, down with the hate. One day we'll all be free and proud to be under the same sun, singing songs of freedom like, whoa.
One day, one day.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Please join us for an oneg, and then we're going to go into one part of the social hall for our talk back. Thank you so much to my committee of Rainbow Shabbat fans that helped plan this service tonight.
Good Shabbos, everyone.